What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Nonsense Podcast. I'm Jada Anderson, alongside me,
Preston Thrasher.
Alright, and it's our third Nonsense NFL quarterly report. This one coming after week 13. I'm pretty sure this one will actually be up in time. It won't be late like the last one. Technical issues. I don't think we'll have that issue this time. So, after 13 thrilling weeks in the NFL, we're going to start off with the best teams so far.
So, of course, the Eagles have been hot for a while now, even though they did lose this past week to drop to 10-2.
Right.
But it's still pretty dang good.
Right. I mean, because the Seahawks, that's a tough place to play in Seattle. And the Seahawks have been performing very well this year. So, I mean, it's a tough matchup. The Eagles, they can bounce back against this huge matchup upcoming with the Rams. I think they should be good to go. But, I mean, it's the Seahawks, and the Seahawks just outplayed them is what happened. Some people don't want to give the Eagles the number one team in the NFL because even though they're 10-2 now, they beat one team with a winning record, and it was the Carolina Panthers. So they don't have any real measurement weighty wins like the Rams do. Like the Rams have beat New Orleans, and I can't name the other teams off the top of my head, but New Orleans was one of the big wins that they had. So that's why I think the Rams and the Eagles, this is going to be a huge pivotal matchup this coming Sunday.
And then the Saints have been on the rise with Alvin Kamara and everybody else.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they've been doing it especially different ways than they normally have. It's normally Drew Brees throwing the football 40, 50 times a game. He's not doing that. I don't think he's averaging 30 pass attempts a game this year because they've got that running game, the two-headed monster in the backfield with Mark Ingram and Alvin Kamara. And their defense has stepped up this year. Considering the Saints' defense has been terrible for about 5 straight years, I think they might have a recipe to make a deep playoff run.
Yep. And then the Patriots, as always.
I mean, we skim over them every single time, but honestly, if you're here you don't know about the Patriots, then where have you been? Their defense, everyone thought they would have issues with the defense early in the season, and yeah, it was true, but I don't know, the Patriots just being the Patriots, doing their job, getting things done. And I mean, it seems to be working.
Yeah. The Vikings have been hot too, as well with the Eagles, as they beat the Falcons. And what we thought was going to be a high-scoring game with the offenses ended up being 14-9.
Yeah, and what some people thought the Falcons were going to pull it off because they thought the Falcons were finally getting into their groove.
Julio hitting it hot.
It didn't happen. That Minnesota defense was just too good for that Atlanta offense to handle, and it just showed. And Minnesota's had some good quality wins as well. They beat the Saints week 1. They've gone and they beat the Rams a couple weeks back. I mean, they helped the Rams, who are like the league's highest scoring offense with the Eagles. They held them to 7 points in that game. So Minnesota's defense often had been getting overlooked in the past years, but Mike Zimmer, his coaching techniques and his defenders back there have been showing up week to week. You can't forget the Pittsburgh Steelers. Will not forget the Steelers.
They've had so many great offensive players, but they can never put it together.
Right, and so everyone just kind of forgets them because they're like, well, what's wrong with them? They're not going. Yeah, they're still winning. But next week's matchup against the Patriots on Sunday Night Football might be the game of the year. Right now, it's gonna go to the Raiders-Chiefs game.
The Raiders-Chiefs game, I think, will hold it.
I want to see that happen again
this week. Yes, but the Raiders had to prevail again.
Yes, if the Raiders can complete the sweep against the Chiefs, then
we have a good chance of making it a playoff. If we don't, we need to throw in the towel and get a draft pick.
This game is very important for both teams. Whoever wins this game, it has a better shot at challenging the Chargers for the AFC West title, and whoever loses the game is out.
Which starts off with our big matchups, as we already said, the Eagles and Rams and Chiefs Raiders. Now we have the Saints and Falcons squaring off tomorrow night, Thursday Night Football.
Should be a huge Thursday Night Football matchup. Thursday Night Football games have been pretty good this year, actually, and I expect this one to be no different. I see a shootout coming. I know both New Orleans defense and Atlanta's defense have stepped up this year. New Orleans, that significant jump, and Atlanta's number 6 scoring defense or something like that.
Yeah.
So, and with the return of Desmond Trufant, I mean,
we got to start winning division games to get into it.
Yes, Atlanta needs to win out first of all, and I think they're going to need. I don't know if they can win the division at this point. If Atlanta can win the division, so they're going to need a wild card. So I think Carolina's going to have to lose a game. which might happen on Sunday. Do I need to put the window lock on?
Childlike.
Which leads to this Sunday's matchup with the Vikings and Panthers. And Minnesota's running away with this division. So, I mean, if I don't know about what's with Carolina. They're inconsistent, really. I mean, because some days they'll show up and they'll play extraordinarily well and they'll win. And like Cam Newton will have a game like he did against the Jets. And then they'll do what they did against the Saints and just I don't know what happened. It wasn't really that close. And Preston looked at me like I was crazy with these last two games on this list, but
I did.
I've got Packers-Browns on this notable matchup list. And the reason I have this game on my list is because the Packers, they just beat the Buccaneers this past Sunday. Aaron Rodgers is running scout team this week. If he is cleared to go next week, it's going to be huge if Aaron comes in and if he comes back and they win, then he's just going to wreck the entire NFC playoff.
Because, I mean, he broke his collarbone weeks ago and he's already throwing bombs like 50 yards down the field.
I mean, they're saying he looks amazing in practice. And you don't want to see Aaron Rodgers in the playoffs. He going to run the table like he did last year. Aaron Rodgers is scary, man. He's a scary man.
If he can get a running game going.
Mm-hmm. And they seem to have sort of found one with Jamal Williams.
They did.
I hope they can sustain it. Because, like...
Went through Lacey, went through Montgomery.
Yeah, went through Aaron Jones, the other rookie. And we think they fit a group with Jamal Williams, but we shall see.
And anyway. Finally, the Cowboys and the Giants as Eli Manning returns after McAdoo stupidly did not start Eli.
Yes, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that decision. How'd you feel when McAdoo said, I'm going to bench Eli Manning?
It didn't affect me as much as you being a big Manning fan. But I did think it was pretty stupid with Manning being a veteran as he is. And considering it's all McAdoo's fault that the Giants are doing terrible, not Eli's.
Mm-hmm.
And considering he has absolutely no wideouts.
Right. The decision didn't make sense to me because, I mean, Eli's not the one giving up 51 points to teams like the Rams and whatnot. And Eli's not the one who's just getting suspended and acting up. Eli is the only player coming out and competing every single week. And McAdoo's like, I see this turmoil and I'm going to go to the calmest guy in the locker room and bench him and start what really bothered me, Geno Smith. Because he's like, we got to see what the young guys can do. But we know what Geno Smith can do.
Geno's already proven himself to be terrible.
Right. He played in New York for 4 years, Jersey, whatever, with the Jets. And he was bad. If you're going to start Davis Webb, sure, I can see that. I could pretend to accept it. But you wouldn't start Geno.
Hey, they did it against the Raiders. Raiders got the dub. I'm all right.
Oh wow! I'm glad they fired him. Honestly,
it was
I called it. I was looking back in our Week 5 podcast, and I called it that before the season was over, Ben McAdoo was going to be fired, and it was true. So I'm pretty triumphant on knowing how that was going to happen.
And as we were talking, breaking news that Roger Goodell just signed his extension.
Yep. So, congratulations, Jerry Jones. You get more Roger Goodell.
I disagree. I don't like Roger Goodell.
I'm not a huge Roger Goodell fan.
I'm not either.
But, you know...
If he wants to keep suspending Brady, alright.
Yeah, I mean, I'm down with that. Go ahead and suspend him again. I'll give you another extension. Coming out of my personal paycheck.
$0. $0.
You won't be getting paid. But it's the thought that counts. Yes.